Welcome to the show. We have a great show today. I have been looking forward to this for a long time. In fact, the very first forge that I ever built, it actually was a propane forge, but it was just a silly little one that didn't actually do anything. It was not well designed at all. So it really didn't work, and I immediately went to charcoal. But now, what is this, 9 months later? I'm finally ready to take the leap and build a gas forge. So I want to get a couple of things out of the way right up front here, and then we'll jump into the build and we'll maybe discuss it a little bit. One thing I'd like to do is for any of you that have experience either building a forge yourself or working with a gas forge, I would love to hear from you in the discussion below. I learned a lot on this project, and I think if I had it to do over again, and I was really starting over from scratch, I probably would do some things a little bit differently. But I'll kind of discuss that as we go along, and there'll be a couple points where I probably ask for feedback. So you're not going to see me get in front of a whiteboard very often, but I kind of felt like just to really make sense out of this build, I did want to spend just a little bit of time on the theory, and this will take about 30 seconds and we'll be done, so don't worry if you're not into this sort of thing. But for my brain, I needed to understand what I was doing, okay? Now, if this is your pipe, and this is not necessarily to proportions here, but if this is your pipe and you're going to have your flame down here at this end, okay? So you're going to have your propane flame down here. You don't want this flame that's sitting in this, sometimes they even call it a flame cup or whatever. You don't want this flame to work its way back up this direction. It turns out that the shape is very important for keeping that from happening. My understanding here is that when gases are flowing in from this way, so like for example air is flowing in from that way, and you have a little nozzle here injecting propane into this system, the air and the propane flow into this cup, and when they hit this long section of tube, and actually I should have drawn this section much longer, but you get the idea. When they hit this long section of tube, because of a thing called the Venturi effect, two things happen. One, the gases speed up, the velocity increases through this narrower section of pipe, and two, the pressure will drop. So in this section of pipe, the gas is moving at a different rate than it is out here in, again, what we might call the flame cup or the flame holder, okay? If I understand correctly, and I would invite any of you that maybe have more experience or more knowledge of how this works than I do, please comment if I'm incorrect here, but this is my understanding. This helps to keep the flame out here where it belongs instead of letting it wander back up to where your nozzle is, to where, potentially it could do some damage up in this area. If your burner is running right, you should always be able to even touch this part of the pipe here, this intake area. You should be able to, that should be cool to the touch, okay? It might heat up, but it should be, give it a tap. If it ever gets so hot that you feel like you're gonna burn yourself, there's something wrong with the way this is designed, and you need to, re-examine how you've done it. Now again, this middle section here should be way longer. I mean, this pipe is, I've got it drawn way too short, but let's say it's something like this. So anyway, that's the idea, is it's going to be very difficult for this flame to work its way back up when these gases are really, flowing rapidly through this piece of pipe. And don't get bogged down and confused by all these little pieces that we have here and stuff. This is actually what's going on. All these other pieces are for is just to squirt propane in and control the rate of flow of that propane that's coming into the system. This here is where the magic happens. This is the burner. Okay, you light it at this end. If it's designed right and it's tuned right and you have the lengths right and everything, there shouldn't be any trouble keeping the flame down at this end and not having that heat work its way back up. Before I get into the parts that went into this, let me just say that you will see me doing some things on this that you will not necessarily have to do if you buy the right parts in the first place. One of the things is I do have to weld at a couple of different points. There is no welding required for this process, okay? I've seen many forges of nearly identical construction that have been done completely without welding. So don't worry if you don't have a welder. If you do have a welder, it makes some parts of the job easier. If you don't have a welder, don't worry about it. It is not necessary. And then I guess one last thing to say before we get into this. I'm not an engineer by any stretch of the imagination. I'm a guy that likes to tinker and mess around and kind of do things like in a hobby way. So if you follow the steps that you see me doing, you do so at your own risk because although I will always try to be safe, I don't have the professional training to be able to say, and this is how you do it. I arrived at the design after hours and hours of studying the designs that other people have made and kind of picking and choosing from among those different designs. And then even after all of that, in the end, I still had to make some modifications to make mine work. So while mine is very similar to many other designs that you will find, it won't be identical. And I think a lot of what determines the best way comes down to what you're comfortable working with and what's the availability of parts in your area. And again, I'll discuss that a little when we get to my parts list here. But I think the next thing I'll do is, I'll show you the finished product here. This is the burner. I don't have the forge built yet. I did assemble kind of just a silly little thing with fire bricks just to try it out. It does work. It heats up metal, it gets it glowing hot, and it works pretty fast. This is obviously a propane burner. It runs I have a 20-pound propane tank, the same kind that you might use for like a gas grill. Of course, a typical gas grill regulator is a very, very low pressure regulator. So if you're going to do a project like this, you will want to invest a little bit more. They're not expensive, but get at least a 20 psi, if not a 30 psi regulator. And of course, there'll be some other fittings and things that are maybe a little bit hard to find, at your local hardware store or home improvement store. But we'll get into that next. So it's time for the parts list. We'll start with the 3 black pipe pieces at the top. On the top right there, you see 3/4 inch to 1 inch pipe reducer. Then moving to the left, that's an 8-inch by 3/4 inch diameter pipe nipple. Again, this is black pipe. You definitely do not want to use galvanized because any part of this that can really heat up, if you're using galvanized, it can actually give off a poisonous gas. So definitely do not use galvanized for this. And then finally on the left there, you have sort of my cobbled together version of what should have been another bell reducer, a 3/4 inch to 1.5. I have seen designs where they use a 3/4 inch to 1.25 instead of 1.5. I guess it probably doesn't really matter. In any case, don't do what I did. I couldn't find the right piece, and so I had to weld something together, and that's why it looks kind of ugly. But ordinarily, that would just be a bell reducer that would look very much like the one on the right, just a little bit bigger. So that's the black pipe portion. That's really the burner portion. The rest of this over here on the left, you'll see some brass fittings and brass pipe. That's going to be sort of the delivery components that bring the gas to the burner. So you'll see 4 pieces there. At the very top, that brass piece at the top there, that's just an end cap. That's just to seal off that length of pipe that you see running vertically there. And that is a 1/4 inch interior diameter. Now I have seen a couple of other designs where they used either slightly smaller or slightly larger pipe. I guess it probably doesn't really matter because this part of the system is really just to bring the gas to the burner. And then below that you see a ball valve. That's a 1/4 inch. And then finally at the bottom, that piece is called a flare. That's a 3/8 inch to 1/4 inch flare. It's a 1/4 inch so that it fits into your 1/4 inch ball valve. But on the other side, it's 3/8 inch because, at least here in the US, 3/8 is a pretty common, pretty standard size for propane fittings for things like gas grills and other common devices that run on propane. So that's the piece that will connect this whole assembly to the regulator that we discussed earlier. So here you can see all of the pieces assembled. Of course, with all the threaded fittings, it's going to be pretty self-explanatory. Here's the ball valve. That's the open position. That's closed or on/off position. But there is this matter here where you will need to drill a hole. I found the right size bit for this was probably would have been a hair larger than 1/2 inch. I used a 1/2 inch bit, and then I just kind of reamed it out a little bit more so that I was able to fit the pipe through with kind of a snug fit. I didn't want it to be something where I had to pound it through or I might damage something, but I did want it to be a little bit of a snug fit. And part of the reason for that is because I didn't just want this pipe rotating freely, because I also need to drill a hole in the copper pipe for essentially a nozzle for the propane, and that needs to be pointed straight down the tube. So to get the hole started in the bell reducer, I used a little punch that just gets us started, and then I went up to a small drill bit first, and then went up to the 1/2-inch bit from there. So once I had that through both sides, I drilled a tiny hole in the copper pipe. Unfortunately, I did not capture that on film. I don't know why. Maybe I lost the footage. But anyway, it would have looked almost exactly like this.
Hey, thanks, man.
Except, of course, it's not that easy because, as it turns out, the bit you use, it's called a number 72 bit. When you get into that size of drill bit, they use wire gauge. Let me see if I can find that here. So I ordered these online. If I can find that link, I will probably share that in the description below. This was, I think it was a 10-pack, and as you can see, I used a few of them up. This is, I mean, these bits are so tiny. There we go. You see how tiny those bits are? That is a number 72. That's a wire gauge number 72 bit. So that gives you an idea of how small the hole is that you want to drill in this brass pipe or copper pipe for the spray nozzle for the propane. And then I did use up some bits. I broke some bits in the process, but I got there. And once that was done, I slid the copper pipe through, and on the exact opposite side of this, that's where that hole is. So I had to look down the long way, and of course you won't be able to see anything in this light, but I had to look down the long way there and make sure that that was pointing exactly straight down the length of the pipe. So I got that all centered, and then what you can see I did here, I actually wound up using, I'll probably roll in a little bit of B-roll here of me trying to solder this. I'm not the best at soldering, so I actually used JB Weld just to make sure that this pipe doesn't rotate or slide back and forth or whatever. It was actually a pretty secure fit because I had made sure when I drilled that hole and kind of reamed out the hole for the pipe to run through the bell reducer, I made sure that it was a pretty snug fit in there. And then finally I just made a little black mark on the back here, and as long as that's facing up, I know that that's on exactly the opposite side of the pipe from the nozzle, so that lets me know that that nozzle is facing down. And again, when I say nozzle, I just mean the hole that I drilled in the pipe. So I mean, really that's about all there is to it. You want to make sure that you get a really, really good seal at all of these joints. You know, I did a little bit of research to find out what's recommended for really sealing off pipe threads. When you get down to this end of the whole system, I actually prefer not to put anything on there because you may want to actually remove the flame cup when you put this into, depending on how you're going to fit it into a forge or whatever your application is. So I didn't put any thread tape or pipe dope or anything on there, but the other, all the other fittings where appropriate, I put on either, what I used was like a pipe dope stuff that was rated for use with gas. Of course, they also have Teflon thread tape that's gas rated. It's not the white stuff. It actually, at least the kind that they sell around here, is yellow. It's kind of expensive for a roll of that stuff, so I went with the pipe dope. I don't know that it really matters. The key is that you need a lubricant to apply to those threads so that you can really get things tightened down without damaging. Obviously, if you over tighten, you can damage the threads. You want to make sure you do not do that. But you really do want to get things tight because remember, this is going to be pressurized. This will have 20 or 30 psi in it potentially, and so you want to make sure that things are sealed up really good so you don't wind up with propane leaks, because that is extremely dangerous and definitely a no-no. I will mention this. You've undoubtedly seen that I have a little, again, I welded on a little piece here. This goes with a piece that I cut out and get a wing nut here. So the idea here is that I can choke down the air, the amount of airflow that goes through there, so I can either go with a richer flame or a leaner flame. And I don't know that that is absolutely necessary. I wound up, because I'm using a full 1.5-inch pipe at this end, that actually draws in a lot of air. So it's nice, for me to be able to maybe choke it down a little bit. It probably isn't necessary. I've seen somebody that used 3/4 to 1 1/4 bell reducer, and that was perfect. They didn't need to put any kind of a choke or anything on there. So I would say this is optional. There's a lot of different ways to do this. You can look up some other methods. I happen to have a welder, so I just welded a piece on there. Then you connect this end to your regulator, with the regulator connected to your propane source. In my case, I'm using a 20-pound tank like you'd use with like a barbecue grill, and you're good to go. So I guess that's about it. I'll leave you there. Right here at the end, I'll roll in some footage of just kind of demonstrating this, how it works. And let me say that if you are interested, a couple of the parts for this I found were difficult to source locally, so I have an Amazon affiliate link. I'll probably put a link to 1 or 2 parts of this, in particular that regulator, that 30 psi regulator, because that was very difficult for me to find locally, and it was actually a pretty good deal on Amazon. So I'll definitely have that link below, so you can check that out, in the description below, so you can check that out. And in a follow-up video, possibly later this week or early next week, I will also have the full build of the forge that goes with this. So look for that, again, probably within a week. And as always, if you're watching this in the future, I will have that linked at the end of this video, so you can go and check that out. So thank you for watching. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, please do. And if you decide to do a project like this, please be very, very careful. I did a lot of research before I built this, and I still learned along the way that when it comes to safety, you just can never be too careful. So make sure you're comfortable at your level of knowledge doing something like this before you try to do this, and certainly before you turn it on and fire it up. So always be careful, don't get hurt, stay safe, and we'll catch you in the next video.